The shooting took place at 6:30 in the evening on Friday, and as you can see, police still here in the area. But before I show you the exclusive video we obtained, I want you to take a look at this building behind me. We have seen police coming in and out of that building. Magdalena, yes, J-Lo is from the Bronx, but it's not every day that she's roaming the streets of our borough. On Tuesday, she was inside this place, all to film a new TV show called Shades of Blue. Now the question is, why did they choose this location? And did J-Lo get a tattoo? And Magdalena, I spoke to one of her friends who didn't want to go on camera. She tells me that Erica, known as Mickey, that's what she would call her, was a great person. She worked really hard. She says that she was so close to her family, she can't wrap her head around what happened. Dora, ¿por qué lo hizo? ¿Por qué se robó a su hija, Dora? ¿Por qué lo hizo? ¿Qué intención tenía usted para hacerlo? ¿No quiere decir nada, comentar nada?
Porque en esa agencia usan de los niños.
Umbrella Hotel even has a rooftop. From up here, you can see all of 3rd Avenue. Now, the owners tell me that by next summer, this area will be transformed into a lounge area where customers can come up here and enjoy a nice drink. Roger, witnesses here say that it was a scene out of a movie. The people in the Bronx very upset.
I love the people in the Bronx. They love me. Look what I did. Nobody else could have done this.
Some people very angry. They were protesting here last week saying that.
Oh, I haven't heard that. No, they're very happy.
It actually was on our news.
This was under construction for 20 years. I got it done immediately.
Right,
so,
but we did see a lot of people out here protesting. What do you have to say to that?
I haven't seen any protesters.
Well, we had it on Channel 12. Nothing to say about that? Commissioner Bill Bratton, as well as the mayor, also the chief of transit, and also the chief of department of the FBI here with him, and saying that New York City is safe, that there is no credible threat to New York City or to the subway system. The faster you go, the faster it charges. I'm Jessica Formoso, and I'll tell you how difficult it is for car wash workers to work in these cold temperatures. That's coming up next. Rodriguez says it was around 5:30 in the afternoon when the battery of his chair died. So he came here to the corner of East 167th Street and 3rd Avenue and changed his wheelchair to this pole.
My 4-year-old, my baby.
An emotional sentencing.
For the rest of my life, their names will be linked to my son's name.
The mother of 4-year-old Lloyd Christopher Morgan couldn't hold back tears as she talked about her slain son.
My son never lost any teeth. My son didn't get to go to kindergarten. A few weeks ago, I didn't get a handmade card for Mother's Day. I don't get a prom and I don't get a graduation.
20-year-old Rondell Pinkerton and 22-year-old Ronald Jeffrey were sentenced Tuesday for Lloyd's murder. The little boy was shot in the head after being caught in the crossfire of a gang shooting in the playgrounds of the Forest Houses on July 22nd, 2012.
My son, Lloyd Christopher Morgan Jr., would have been somebody. And they took that away from me.
Pinkerton was sentenced to 20 years in prison for manslaughter, and Jeffrey was sentenced to 8 years for weapons possession.
Yeah, 8 years. I spit on them.
Both stood silently until the judge asked if they wanted to say something to the family. Jeffrey was the only one.
I'm deeply sorry for what happened. God knows the truth.
And even though one was sentenced to 20 years and the other one to 8, Cheyenne says that won't bring her little boy back, but at least justice was served. Outside the Bronx County Hall of Justice, I'm Jessica Formoso, News 12, the Bronx. She's a small girl with a huge heart. Savannah Solis got to meet her heroes today here at the 41st Precinct. It was a treat for her and the officers. This was the greeting when Savannah Solis arrived. The NYPD chopper flew above her as officers and canines awaited her arrival.
Amazing. It was exciting to get here.
10-year-old Savannah Solis flew in from Texas last night, and today was the big day to meet her heroes.
It's amazing to meet the officers here that I actually sent them the cards. I sent 200 over here.
200 thank you cards that were filled with lots of love. She always had a passion for law enforcement, but in December she decided to express her love and support through her handmade cards.
When Officer Lou and Officer Ramos died, I came up with the idea a couple days later.
She made 500 cards during her winter break after getting in contact with Officer Victor Cabral from the 41st Precinct. He was able to get her to New York to say thank you in person.
Officers in New York City, you matter to me.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's truly amazing how something that we desperately needed in that time, to have a little girl as far as she was, to just thank us, you know, for a job that we do.
Looks up to them, she adores them, that's all she talks about.
She called herself Dr. Val, taking x-rays, injecting patients, extracting teeth, and even performed root canals. Are you innocent, ma'am? Valbona Yazigare was escorted into court in handcuffs on Thursday afternoon. The 45-year-old Albanian mother of 3 is being accused of working on patients' teeth from late 2012 through the summer of 2013 without a license.
She diverted patients to herself and accepted new patients for her to work on directly.
Yazigare worked as an office manager for Dr. Jeffrey Schoengold in Riverdale. The Bronx district attorney says that she would prey on uninsured patients who were Albanian. She would offer them deep discounts if they paid her in cash. Investigators say that Dr. Schoengold was not present at the office during these illegal appointments, but when patients came back in pain, he realized something was wrong.
Whatever the doctor says, that's what she did. She was under him. She had no outside practice like he's claiming, whatever.
Yazigare is being charged with grand larceny, accused of scamming her boss out of 20 grand, plus assault, reckless endangerment, unauthorized practice charges for the work she did on those unsuspecting patients. Meanwhile, court documents say that she claimed to have dental training in her home country of Albania, but no official license in the United States. Yazigare's husband says she never touched a patient.
Absolutely not. She is not qualified for it. No, that's make me laugh. You cannot do surgery on people.
Bail was set at $20,000 and she's due back in court on May 28th. If convicted, she can face up to 7 years behind bars. Magdalena, there were over 100 people standing right here where I am. They were angry, chanting that they want justice for Khalif and change in the criminal justice system.
Indict, convict, send those prison guards to jail.
They chanted,
Thank you, God, that in our grief,
and prayed all in the memory of 21-year-old Khalif Browder.
16 and 17-year-olds do not belong with adults. Need them removed from every adult facility in America.
On Saturday, he committed suicide at his home in the Bronx.
Khalif was strong. He would never want to kill himself.
Browder's story made headlines after the New Yorker profiled his story. At 16, he was arrested for a robbery he didn't commit. He spent almost 3 years in jail waiting for a trial, which never happened.
Those officers, they were shown on video beating my brother, stomping him out, and then allowing inmates to beat on my brother and stomp him out.
This video from the New Yorker shows exactly what his brother's talking about, the physical abuse from both correction officers and gang members at Rikers Island.
He was in an adult facility. He wasn't even an adult, he was 16. He was not a man. Everyone should realize he was a boy.
His charges dropped. This is why this crowd of New Yorkers, the Browder family, and organizations like Justice League NYC want justice and changes in the criminal justice system.
A change, a reform in the jail system.
His brother says Khalif wanted to get his life back. He was going to school, working 2 jobs. Yet the abuse he suffered at Rikers Island was just too much.
He took his life is because of the paranoia. It was too much for him to handle. The paranoia of police officers passing by the house looking for him.
A week before he took his life,
he told my mother a week before he died, he wanted to be a boy again.
And Magdalena, his brother tells us that he's going to have a community affair in the Bronx. It's going to take place on June 20th on East Tremont at a church there. The time has not been set, but of course, as soon as we have that information, we will get it to you. In downtown Manhattan, I'm Jessica Formoso, News 12 The Bronx. Magdalena, back to you in the studio.
I had to jump on top of freight trains, one of those cargo trains that you see.
La Bestia?
La Bestia, yeah, La Bestia, or we call it that train of death.
For some, it's the beginning of a better life. Yet for others, the journey is full of tragedy and trauma.
I saw people falling off the trains, I saw people getting robbed, I saw some girls being raped. It's very, very hard things that you see.
Elvis Garcia Callejas left Honduras at the age of 15. He, like most who flee their country, did it for a better life. Back at home, he was surrounded by violence.
I used to see people getting killed on the streets. It was a very, very tough situation that my family and I were living in.
So he decided to risk it all and head to America, looking for the American dream. You didn't even know if you were gonna make it here.
Yeah, I didn't know if I was gonna make it. I knew that I might not make it. I tell you that. I knew that I might not make it, but it was a risk that I had to take to move forward with my life, or to stay there and continue, living that one day I may die here.
He almost lost his life.
The last part of my trip, I spent 8 days on top of a cargo train with no food and water. The main reason that I had to get out of the train is because I couldn't continue on top of the train. I had to get out to look for assistance, for food or for water, and I was so weak. I was throwing up blood.
Years later, now 25 years old, he's a case manager for Catholic Charities Archdiocese of New York.
I understand how difficult it is to leave your country, leave everything that you know behind.
Elvis became an American citizen in 2013, but before that, he was able to get permanent resident status through a special immigrant relief program for unaccompanied children, victims of all sorts of abuse.
A lot of the people in the U.S. do not understand that we as an accompanied minor, we are not bad people. We're just looking for opportunity. We just wanna do what's best for us, what's best for the community, what's best for this world.
Shortly after he came to the States, Elvis was adopted by an American family in Chicago. He went to high school and graduated from college. He now helps children just like him. Jessica Formoso, News 12.